It was a chilly morning in the small town when Clara, a young girl in worn shoes and a faded dress, noticed an old man struggling at the crosswalk. His cane trembled in his hand, and cars rushed past without stopping. Without hesitation, Clara hurried to his side. "Sir, let me help you," she said softly, slipping her small hand under his arm. The old man glanced at her with tired eyes, surprised by the warmth of her gesture. Step by step, she guided him across, ignoring the impatient horns and curious stares. Once safely on the other side, he asked her name. "Clara," she replied with a shy smile. "I just try to help when I can." He thanked her, but what Clara didn't know was that this man was Mr. Harrison, the town's wealthiest farmer, known for his sprawling fields and quiet generosity. For years, people had sought his favor for wealth, yet here was a girl helping him with no expectation at all. The next day, a knock came at Clara's tiny home. Standing there was Mr. Harrison, holding baskets of fresh food and a letter. With a gentle smile, he told her family, "This kindness cannot be forgotten. Your daughter reminded me what true wealth is." From then on, Clara's life changed, not because she sought reward, but because she offered love when no one else did. Sometimes, the smallest acts of kindness grow into the greatest harvests of life. Clara never imagined her simple act would matter. She had only wanted to help a frail old man across the street. But when Mr. Harrison, the richest farmer in town, appeared at her doorstep the next morning, her world shifted. He brought baskets of fruit, vegetables, and milk, gifts that brightened their bare table. Clara's mother, weary from long hours at the laundry, held back tears as she whispered, "We've never had so much food at once." Mr. Harrison sat with them, eating bread and soup like an ordinary man. "Clara reminded me yesterday," he said slowly, "that kindness is worth more than money. Too many passed me by, but she saw me." Clara listened, confused yet curious. Why would such a powerful man care about her small gesture? In the days that followed, Harrison visited often. He brought books for Clara, knowing she loved to read, and spoke to her about dreams. "You have a sharp mind, child. Education could take you further than you think," he told her. But whispers began in town. Some neighbors mocked, saying Clara was trying to charm the old man for wealth. Others grew jealous, questioning why he would favor a poor girl. Clara felt the sting of their words, but she never asked Harrison for anything, only his stories of planting seeds, watching crops grow, and caring for people quietly. One evening, as the sun set across golden fields, Harrison looked at Clara and said, "The world needs more hearts like yours. And I intend to make sure yours has every chance to shine." Clara didn't yet understand what he meant, but soon, his promise would change her future forever. Weeks passed, and Mr. Harrison's visits became a quiet routine. Clara would rush home after school, eager to hear his stories. He taught her about soil, patience, and the way harvests mirrored life. "If you plant goodness, Clara," he said one afternoon, "it always grows, even if you don't see it right away." But not everyone was pleased. In town, gossips whispered louder. "Why is the richest farmer spending time with a ragged girl?" Some sneered. Even Clara's classmates teased her, calling her the farmer's pet. The cruelty stung, but she remembered her mother's words. "Kindness is never wasted, no matter what people say." One day, Mr. Harrison invited Clara and her mother to his farm. It was the first time Clara saw his vast fields stretching endlessly into the horizon. Workers greeted him with respect, but Clara noticed something unusual. He treated each of them like family, never above them. After a tour, Harrison turned to Clara. "This farm is more than land, it's a legacy. But wealth alone means nothing without someone worthy to carry it on. You've shown me a heart stronger than any crop I've planted." Clara's eyes widened. "But I'm just a poor girl," she whispered. He chuckled. "You're rich in ways money cannot measure. And that's what makes you different." That night, as Clara lay in bed, she realized her kindness had opened doors she never knew existed. Still, she had no idea how deeply Harrison's words would shape her destiny, or the sacrifice he was preparing to make on her behalf. The following month, Mr. Harrison grew weaker. His steps slowed, his cane felt heavier, and his visits became fewer. Clara noticed his trembling hands and the tiredness in his smile. One evening, sitting on the porch of his farmhouse, he spoke softly. "Clara, I'm old. My days are shorter now. But when I look at you, I see the future I always hoped for, a future where kindness leads, not greed." Clara's heart sank. She had grown to love him like a grandfather. "Don't say that," she pleaded. "You'll be here for many more harvests." But Harrison only patted her hand. "Every harvest has its season." Weeks later, word spread through the town. Mr. Harrison had passed peacefully in his sleep. The entire community gathered to mourn, and Clara cried more than anyone. She thought her story with him had ended. But at the reading of his will, the town gasped. Mr. Harrison had left a large portion of his estate, not to powerful businessmen or wealthy neighbors, but to Clara and her family. He also created a scholarship fund in her name, ensuring she could study and build a future beyond poverty. The same neighbors who once mocked her now stood speechless. Clara, holding her mother's hand, felt overwhelmed. She never wanted riches, only to do what was right. Yet her simple act of helping an old man cross the street had transformed her life forever. In the years that followed, Clara's life blossomed in ways she could never have imagined. With the scholarship Mr. Harrison left behind, she studied agriculture and community development, determined to honor his legacy. She returned to the town years later, not as the poor girl in torn shoes, but as a young woman filled with purpose. The farm, now under her care, thrived with new ideas she brought from her studies. But she didn't stop there. She opened a school for children of farmers, so no child would have to choose between education and survival. The same townspeople who once doubted her now admired her strength. Many whispered, "Harrison was wise. He saw something in her we never did." Clara often stood at the same crosswalk where her journey began. Every time she saw someone struggling, she remembered that single moment when kindness changed everything. One evening, as the sun painted the fields in gold, Clara spoke to a group of children gathered around her. "I once helped a man across this very street, not knowing he was the richest farmer in town. But what he taught me was greater than any fortune. Kindness is the seed that grows into the greatest harvest." The children listened wide-eyed, their hearts touched. And as Clara looked out at the fields, she smiled, knowing Mr. Harrison's spirit lived on, not in wealth or land, but in the kindness passed from one heart to another. Her story had begun with a simple act. And it would never end, because kindness, once planted, never stops growing.